Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another night of NGS action. My name is Isaacs, and tonight I am bringing you some heroic division action. This is pretty much as good as it gets outside of Watch and Storm division on the official NGS channel. We have got Team WildHeart Omega going up tonight against, let me make sure I get this, Team Rippers. Both of these teams have had pretty good seasons so far. Let me see if I can pull up the official standings real quick from these two teams to see where we're standing in the heroic division. I'm super excited. It's been a while since I've had a chance to cast up at the heroic level. I've actually heroics kryptonite. I am like 1 for 5 on heroic cast so far. All the other ones have been postponed or canceled. WildHeart Omega currently is sitting in the number 2 spot with 4 matches played. They are sitting on 6 wins and 3 losses with 2 dominations. Team Rippers, they're in the number 5 spot, sitting with 3 wins, 4 losses with 1 domination in their favor. So both these teams kind of sitting, WildHeart looking to make a push for that top speed going up against Baby Makers. Meanwhile, Team Rippers are trying to get themselves bumped up a couple more spots in that division total. There's only 7 teams currently in the heroic. They do a double round robin kind of style where they will then go into playoffs after that. So both these teams kind of getting ready to look at it. These teams are just ready. They got through the pick and bans super quickly. Let me get you over to that since we are speaking about the maps real quick. So the side of WildHeart Omega, they called and won the coin toss. So they elected to go with first pick, meaning map ban started with our Team Rippers. They banned out the Alterac Pass Team Rippers banned out the Tomb of the Spider Queen and Towers of Doom. WildHeart Omega responded by banning out Alterac Pass and Garden of Terror, leaving a lot of really fun maps available to go to tonight. I kind of am excited about the map option that we have. But Team Rippers, they got to pick the map first, and they are sending us over 2 Infernal Shrines on game 1. Kind of one of those just great maps to start a series off on. 3-lane map, playing heavy over the objective, using the objective to create some solid lane pressure. We are just waiting currently on one more person to get into this lobby. We have 9 of 10 players in, ready to go. We're waiting on this last one, and we should get this series underway. Sorry that it took a little bit to get the stream started. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties. Mainly it was with my computer something was going on with my computer with not adjusting to the time change that happened last night. But I'm so glad that everybody was able to catch that there was, the time change going on, and we're able to make it at the appropriate time tonight. But we have everybody in the lobby now, so I'm going to let them know that the streamer is ready. We'll wait to see when both of these teams are ready. We got readies from one side, looking for the ready from the other. And yeah, I'm kind of excited about what we're going up against on a map like Infernal Shrines, where usually, I've been doing a lot of casting so far in the lower division. Sorry, you're going to see a black screen for a second because I just literally opened up my Heroes browser, so it's going to just take a second and it'll get over to the draft screen. But there's so many different draft strategies that we can see in the higher divisions. We see champions that necessarily aren't utilized heavily in the lower divisions picked up in these higher divisions. Things like the Medivh, things like the Lost Vikings, possibly seeing Abathur make an appearance. Cho'Gall is always an option that's on the table. Pulling out things like Deathwing main tank is always a fun thing to see. And we do see the priorities of bans starting to favor some of the stronger champions when they're in the hands of the right players. So seeing like an Uther ban, seeing the Medivh ban, there's a Medivh ban right off the bat. Seeing other types of bans, not so much the necessarily like just standard meta bans, which we may see 1 or 2 of those as well. Talking to you, Chromie, talking to you, Cassia, talking, about Mei, Diva, those typical meta champions we may see actually come out because they do have a little bit of lower ceiling as opposed to the other champions like the Medivh, who have a much higher ceiling. Falstad being the one that gets the second ban here on Infernal Shrine. Falstad's in a pretty good spot right now. Some people consider him to be a little over buffed right now due to the fact that his W ability is got a lot of scaling potential, but in the higher divisions, people can recognize that maybe has a little more counterplay than we typically see in, like our lower divisions where people might not be as aware of how to play around a fall side who is stacking heavily into that W build. But personally, from a caster's perspective and a fall side, I still think his auto attack build is probably his best build. I think it only got buffed and made it even stronger. I personally used to love the old Q build, but it did get kind of nerfed a little bit due to the fact that they gave Boomerang just as a flat talent, which you think it would help, but they also reduced a lot of the damage that came off of that level 1 talent, so it's no longer as viable as what it once was. So Rexar and Uther getting the nods out. I mentioned Uther earlier. I mentioned Rexar, and I did talk about the Chromie as one of those strong meta picks, and it wasn't even a second. And Apparition picks up the Chromie for WildHeart Omega. Stonia and Stukov being picked up pretty quickly in response for the side of Team Ripper. Sonya, this is one of Sonya's best maps. Like, hands down, Sonya has the ability to push a lane hard, has the ability to go into the off lane when an objective is online, or send somebody else into that off lane and fight over the objective. So Sonya gonna get the nod here. Stukov being picked up as well due to zoning potential and a great counter to the Chromie. Diablo and Hogger being locked in as well. So as we said, some of these overpowered higher ceiling champions do get banned out in these higher divisions with the Medivh and the Rexar and the Uther, so that leaves some of the more meta champions like the Hogger, like the Chromie, like the Stukov available and to be played with. And so we do get to see Diablo and Hogger being picked up here. Hogger going to be able to just cause a lot of chaos around those objectives. Diablo has a lot of walls when the objective comes online to be able to stun people into, make some significant plays for the team. We'll see how the side of Team Rippers decides to finish off their draft, seeing if they elect to go for more of an auto attack Diablo build or just go heavily into the Q, which did recently get a little bit of a nerf. Diablo isn't quite as able to put as much damage down into whatever target he wants with the Q build, but it is still very good at providing that crowd control. Tychus getting the ban out with the Brightwing here, not wanting to see that Tychus come on to shred high health targets like the Hogger and Diablo. So a good ban coming out. The Malthael is still available, although they already have the Sonya. We could see the triple bruiser or the double bruiser tank. I call it triple bruiser just because there's 3 frontliners, but the double bruiser tank with a hyper carry, Rainer or Vala potentially coming in, or Greymane on a map like Infernal Shrines. But we'll see what they elect to go with. I mean, there's still the May. The Greymane does come out. Arthas is picked up in response as that main tank. He's going to be able to provide excellent peel for the dive intensive composition coming out so far from the side of WildHeart Omega. Arthas is one of the notorious best peelers from that frontline perspective. Going to be able to keep Diablo and Hogger from being able to get even further on that Greymane, and Greymane is going to be able to provide a lot of that burst damage once level 10 comes online with that cursed bullet. Unfortunately, they don't have a real answer yet for getting with Chromie unless they go with the heavy leap Sonya, but we do see the Mephisto being that safe engage player with a Lucio being able to high five, prevent, a lot of, I would expect this is going to be a high five just to protect Chromie from a potential leap Sonya coming in. We'll see what this last pickup is, but right now, due to the 2 compositions, I mean, they don't have the best engage yet coming out of Team Ripper, so I would look for something heavier in the engage territory. Orphea provides, Orphea is not necessarily the heaviest engage, but it's solid follow-up damage, and it's also solid peel damage as well. So it's kind of that in-between. It's not necessarily defensive, not necessarily the most offensive, but it has great playmaking potential, can go either direction there. So I like the pickup that we see there. We do see Chromie and Mephisto, so there's going to be a lot of spell armor I'm anticipating picked up by the side of Team Rippers. And yeah, overall, these 2 drafts are just going to be kind of explosive once we get into this game. I definitely am favoring the late game potential that is going to be coming out of WildHeart Omega. The Greymane is going to, that level 10 power spike, I'm definitely going to hand over to Team Rippers. I think they have a very good level 10 capability. They're going to be able to, once that cursed bullet comes online, if Arthas is able to find and isolate out a specific target over the objective, with the potential of a leap Sonya, it's going to be able to provide a lot of chaos for the Chromie and the Mephisto in the backline that they should have no problem blowing up a target with an Orphea Greymane, but we'll see if that is how these two teams elect to play it out. Remember, we are in that upper heroic division. We've got Masters and Grandmasters kind of playing it out, so the subtlest of mistakes will get punished here in a map like Infernal Shrines. But let's get this first map underway, get these teams introduced. On the blue side, we got Apparition sitting on the Chrome, we got Valimir sitting on the Hogger, we got Frosty Wind on the Lucio, Lupus sitting on the Diablo, and back in the base, we got Brown Bala on the Mephisto. Meanwhile, on the red team, we've got XXJP sitting on the Greymane, LF Neil sitting on the Orphea, Champ of Horde sitting on the Sonya, Red X on the Arthas, and Hope doing a bit of a dance there on the Stukov with the puppy in the Cone of Shame. Actually, we got XX and Hope both sitting with puppies in Cone of Shame there. So let's see how they go out. Arthas going for that Frost Presence at level 1, going to be able to get that crowd control heavily once he gets to that 20 stacks, being able to root targets along the path that he puts out with that level 20. And I anticipate he's going to go heavy into his spell armor due to the fact that we've got a Mephisto and a Chromie coming out on the other team. But we do see this explosive battle. Hogger putting down a great horde right there, going to negate, but we do see excellent counter engage coming out of the Orphea. Orphea able to just put down so much damage. That is Diablo and Lucio going down, and it looks like the Chromie for good measure. Look at the play coming in. Orphea throwing up the flare for good measure. You know, why not? When you have an Orphea player that is able to provide those kinds of play, was able to land the crushing or the jaws very, very easily, was able to get a 3-man since everybody committed heavily onto bursting that Arthas down. Orphea was able to punish that and put down just an immense amount of damage in that fight, able to pick up 3 kills for their own team. Arthas looking at, he's sitting on 2 stacks. Diablo trying to get himself stacked out there, but we do see this camp being picked up by the side of WildHeart Omega. Both these teams getting their camps pretty much on this early timer. Arthas trying to just give that a little bit of vision for his team, being that scouting ward to give his team an idea of what is going on for the side of WildHeart Omega. And, you know, Arthas, probably one of the safest champions to do that, has his own ability to peel, has a very high health pool, really can just run away from any type of engage at all. And this bottom camp is being picked up very quickly, thankfully due to the Greymane and the Orphea. Very, very camp wave clears coming out right here. Diablo getting rooted out by the Arthas, but unfortunately Arthas just doesn't have a team yet to follow up. They're too busy clearing a lot of this minion wave. Going to look for a lot of the split push, but Orphea going heavily into that Chaos build. Arthas going to go at level 4 for that quest that's going to get him even more crowd control, reduce the attack speed, and reduce the slow potential coming out at when that thing gets finished off here. Interesting that he picked that into a double mage, but it is going to provide a lot of disabled engage when he gets that thing kind of finished off later into the game. Not really going to affect him as far as the attack speed goes, since they don't have very many champions that rely heavily on the attack speed. Usually see it when we got more of like a Greymane, Illidan, those kinds of champions that seem to dive in, but he will be able to provide a lot of slowing effects for his team. Meanwhile, Greymane going to go ahead, go up and start this camp up in the top lane. Lucio starting it off for his team, going to have Chromie kind of give him the old assist here, and Sonya going to rotate down. I was wondering if she's going to rotate aggressively to give that vision. Elects not to. Sonya going heavily into that seismic slam build, going to be able to bruise out that Hogger pretty easily in these early levels due to the fact that she's taking a lot of that single target burst. Won't have such a great time later in the game. Diablo electing, you know, taking into consideration his build. He's going into that W build, that sustain build, use the globes to kind of heal himself up, be able to use that fire stomp to keep himself pretty much just alive in fights. So not committing heavily to the dive, electing to just want to keep himself as that frontline tank. Pretty easy to land a lot of these skills with the targets that are coming out from the side of Team Rippers. So he should have a much easier time, especially paired with a Lucio, to keep himself healthy at level 16. He's going to be nay impossible to kill. But we do see this objective just essentially given up. The first Punisher is not the worst Punisher. It is a frozen Punisher, so it will shut off a couple of these towers. It will be a little bit harder to kill than the Arcane and the Mortar. But Arthas going for that extra tank ability at level 7, the active that does reduce overall the amount of damage coming in. But Diablo taking a massive amount of punishment here. Orphea diving in really deep, going to try and run herself away. Uses the point to get herself to safety there, but was able to get in fairly deep, you know, and she took a fair amount of damage, but look what they're able to get with that. The Orphea, you know, knowing her capabilities and knowing how deep she could potentially go, having the Stukov with the burst heal at her back, she was able to zone pretty much the entire team off, and that did end up picking up that bot fort. So bot fort pressure going over for the side of Team Rippers, coming out with a very aggressive comp early in this game and executing it fairly well. Good on them for, you know, coming out and, you know, executing this draft fairly well. They knew they had a pretty good early game power spike. This composition from Chromie and Mephisto just isn't quite online yet. It will get online later in the game. But as long as the side of Team Rippers can keep the experience lead in their favor and keep the map pressure, they're going to be able to get to their 10s first, and they're going to have a big playmaking potential around those level 10 when Arthas is going to be able to be that just really difficult front line to deal with. And Greymane is going to be able to start chunking down a lot of these targets, getting a lot of smash and bash burn damage with the Orphea. So we'll see how these two teams continue to progress. Right now, excellent start coming out of Team Rippers. We're going to see if Hogger starts to get some of these rotations down, since it doesn't seem like he's having very much success pushing out the Sonya in the top lane. Sonya is able to sustain fairly well. So we're going to look for a Hogger for a quick clear and then a gank down into this 5-man to try and get that level experience before 10s come online. But the side of Team Rippers, they're playing safe. They know the 10s are just about to come online. Here they come. And the ultimates picked up are pretty much as expected. Army of the Dead being popped by the Arthas there. Curse Bullet by the Greymane. We got Eternal Feast coming out of the Orphea. We've got the swipes coming out from the Stukov, and we do see it is going to be that Leap Sonya coming out. Gonna try and just get herself onto that Chromie Lucio in the back line, since they really didn't have too much heavy engage into that back line with their composition, unless she went with that leap. But Arthas landing the root, the leap to follow up. Diablo getting just crowd controlled to hell. Mephisto landing a nice Durance of Hatred in response, catches the Arthas underneath the tower, was taking a couple tower shots. Chromie was able to follow up, get that loop of time, and was able to get the Orphea picked out as well. So two easy, quick pickups coming out of WildHeart Omega. The Hogger jumping in deep there. Let's get the rest of these ultimates picked up from the side. So we already saw the temporal loop coming out of the Chromie. APOC coming from the Diablo. Hogger going with that Shockwave instead of the Hortipulse. So going to be able to provide a massive amount of stun potential instead of just diving heavy into the backline. The high five as anticipated coming out from the Lucio. And we did see that excellent Durance of Hatred coming out from the Mephisto, able to stun under the tower and actually get their team a reverse kind of play, or, you know, a reverse sweep. But Sonya getting a little aggressive. Diablo electing not to go in there, looking for another potential pick here. Arthas is there. He does land the stun onto the Arthas. Chromie to follow up. The Eternal Feast does go down. The Arthas is dead, but we do see the Orphea able to provide a lot of this burst damage, not missing a single skill shot. Greymane diving himself forward, and that is 2 kills picked up quickly by the side of Team Rippers. There's a nice pickup, instant response by the Orphea, knowing that the Diablo had stunned the Arthas into the wall. She's like, well, they're all going to jump in here, so she dropped the Eternal Feast directly on top of that stun target, kind of zoned everybody away. Did not end up saving the Arthas, but she was able to put down enough damage that she could follow it in with her burst in the Greymane, and were able to pick up that kill. But the Stukov getting immediately engaged on by that Diablo combination there. Stukov just absolutely melts. Chromie able to provide that follow-up burst damage, and that is a nice pickup coming out of WildHeart Omega there, right around the objective. And we'll see if they can turn this one around, start getting this objective and pressure in the top lane. Meanwhile, Sonya, like we said, she can either play with the objective or play the split push game, and Sonya is going to provide a lot of siege pressure. Maybe go pick up some of these camps, keep that experience lead growing in her team's favor. Greymane, knowing that they have the Stukov down, is like, forget it, there's nothing we can get. Let's just push this mid lane out, and they do so. They do have to worry about this Diablo rotation coming down, but there's no real damage coming with it. So as long as Greymane can pick up this fort, and it should be hit by these minions, they're going to get themselves to safety. And it's a nice quick response. Good note and clinic example there for people watching on, you know, you lose a member, go find some value somewhere else on the map immediately. Don't wait around and try to pick up this, you know, small fight and just delay in the top lane. See if you can find something else. And look what they're doing. The Greymane's going to pick up this camp. Sonya's going to get this camp. They're going to just grab camps, and Arthas is going to be here for the delay. This objective won't do so much to them. It's only the second Immortal. It's a little more devastating than the first, but it's going to be that Mortar Punisher. So it's the weakest of the 3 Punishers. So if they can get some significant map pressure for Team Rippers, they're going to have a good time. And this is what Infernal Shrines definitely values is, you know, you don't have to necessarily get the objective to continue to put pressure on your, you know, opposing team. Arth is just going to go ahead and pull this Frozen Punisher, or sorry, Mortal Punisher over the wall. The Endurance of Hatred, I believe, did go out. No, it didn't. Yes, it did. It was the Endurance of Hatred that popped out from Mephisto. Trying to get the cheeky play over the wall, did not connect there. And so Mephisto's got that on cooldown. If the rest of the team was able to recognize it, they know that they have a potential counter-engage play. After this Immortal goes down, this entire fort is shredded, so it was a fort pickup, but this siege presence in the mid lane is just doing work. This entire wall is gone. Sonya using the leap to get herself to safety. She's trying to mount up, but Diablo is here. He's got the dive. He does get the flip over onto the Sonya there. The boop from the Lucio does not connect. Gonna get the second one, but Chromie able to land the W's. Greymane gonna go ahead and dive himself in on the Mephisto there, and the rest of the team is just full on engaging. Everybody on the side of WildHeart Omega is in full retreat mode, even though they picked up the kill. And are able to go get the rest of the minions. That keep took a fair decent amount of damage there, and we'll see if they're able to continue to create this map pressure. They've got about a half-level lead right now coming out of the side of Team Rippers. We're pretty much sitting neck and neck as far as talents goes, kills go. Experience is about a half level there, so we'll see if they're able to, you know, negate this as the game goes on. But right now these teams are pretty much sitting even across the board, except in map pressure, which is heavily favoring Team Rippers right now, especially if they can go pick up this fort in the top lane with Sonya, or if they can get a fantastic rotation by creating some sort of pressure in the bot lane. That would just even out this map and this map pressure in the top lane, and they've got mid and bot lane pressure going for them already, with a wall and part of the keep already being knocked down. Yeah, I see people saying he may be fat-fingered. I definitely think it was calculated. I think he was trying to play the land the Endurance of Hatred over the wall on top of whoever the Punisher jumped onto. Yeah, Lord is confirming that that was probably what was going to go on, and that's what I anticipated was going on. It wasn't necessarily a fat finger. It was more of a, let's see if I could just randomly land the stun. He didn't have vision of it, so he had to throw it blind due to the channeling that it takes to make Endurance of Hatred proc, but wasn't able to connect it, unfortunately. No skin off of his nose. They still got the fort, so he's like, it was a, you know, 50% play, 40% play. Wasn't able to connect. We'll live and try it another day. But Hogger getting caught out here does land the Earth Shatter there. Diablo gonna go in, gonna flip over the Stukov. Sorry, that's not Stukov, that's the Orphea. And the Endurance of Hatred lands, and look at the four-man root coming out of that Endurance of Hatred. Unfortunately, there was no follow-up that was able to get there. Sonya was able to leap onto the backline, caused so much havoc that they just couldn't follow up on that massive Endurance of Hatred by the Mephisto. Sonya getting stunned out. The loop of time does go down, but she dies before the loop goes. Orphea is sitting fairly low. Diablo is low as well. Orphea does fall into Mephisto, getting some massive damage in here. And Chromie just having the time of her life, poking from safety from behind this massive Diablo frontline that she had. Good pickup, 2 for 1, but Diablo is back due to the souls, and so 2 for 0 essentially coming out for the side of WildHeart Omega. Nice turnaround coming out for them, and now they're going to be able to create a lot of map pressure again right around this objective. They're going to go over and start to pick up the keeps, try to paint this map as blue as they possibly can. Greymane going to go up and pick up this bruiser camp here in the top lane, and we're going to see the rest of the team kind of trying to provide as much of a defense as they can in the mid lane. So huge plays coming out from WildHeart Omega here in the mid game. We'll see if they can continue to build this. Meanwhile, Arth is getting flipped and thrown into the enemy team. Chromie's got the time loop there. 1, 2, Endurance of Hatred lands again, and that is 1 dead Arthur. Sonya comes in with the leap a little late. Orphea is there with the follow-up Crushing Jaws, but it does, or Eternal Feast, but it does not provide enough damage. This Hogger is able to survive. Another big pick coming out of WildHeart Omega there, and now they have their foot on the accelerator. Greymane gonna go and try to get as much map pressure as he possibly can. The top camp is pushing in. This camp is still trying to get picked up here. Meanwhile, Stukov coming down, gonna give support to the Greymane. Sonya and Orphea just kind of sitting and waiting for the rest of this camp. Orphea started off. We'll see if this Orphea can start to carry in the late game. She's getting to that point where, especially when 20 comes online, they still got the level lead, and Orphea has so much more playmaking and just solo carry potential once those 20s come online. So we'll see if this Orpheus is able to do it, but Diablo got to be careful here. Curse Bullet does actually miss there. Unstoppable high five pop, Endurance of Hatred starting to spread. APOC landing on top of it. That is a sick wombo combo coming out of WildHeart Omega. The Endurance of Hatred, the second that Endurance of Hatred lands, Diablo popped the APOC, got the 2-man stun, and there is no surviving that burst damage coming out of that Chromie. That is 2 dead members, Orphea and Greymane, both assassins dead right when this Arcane Punisher is coming online, and it is going to push heavily into this mid lane. Holy cow, just when you thought that this game was just heavily starting to favor Team Rippers, WildHeart Omega have found a way to get these picks with the Diablo, Mephisto, and give credit to the Chromie for providing a lot of that follow-up damage, and they've continually found ways to get these picks and make this map pressure completely flip on its head. They now have the Punisher pushing, the Mephisto jumping through, gonna provide some of this damage, trying to get some vision. The Endurance of Hatred is back up online. He will be able to try and land it on this third Immortal jump. Nice route coming out of the Arthas there to make sure nobody is able to finish off. Arthas still not finishing off that level 4 talent yet. The stun does go through onto the Orphea, but nobody was in position. But that is a keep picked up in favor of WildHeart Omega. I was gonna say Endurance of Hatred just because I'm so excited at how this is finished. So this is the biggest question that I still have in the game right now. The level 4 quest coming out of the Arthas, still not at its max value and still not being able to provide as much value as I thought it could potentially do, especially with the team comp that we saw coming out of WildHeart Omega. I definitely think Arthas is, being that frontline that he needs to be. I'll bet that pick that happened around that objective, but that is part of some of the things that I have questions about in this game particularly. We'll see if it does eventually, once he's able to finish that quest off, if it does start to scale in their team's favor. But now it's pretty much going to be the side of WildHeart Omega looking to see if they can find some sort of pick around the next level 20s. They have their 20s online. We do see the piercing stance coming out of the Chromie, the teleport with the Diablo. We do see the improved power spike coming out of the Hoggart, a second high five, which is Nexing Fire coming out from the Lucio there, and the Mimic coming out from the Mephisto. 20s not quite online for the side of Team Rippers, but now here they are. We do see the anti-mage shell coming out from the Arthas, going to be able to prevent a lot of this damage onto him. Curse Bolt does land on Diablo. The Endurance of Hatred lands onto Sonya, only onto Sonya. No, it does spread to the Arthas there. Sonya leaps in, but Diablo is so far in deep. He's got to get back for the rest of this team because Sonya and Orphea are just sitting in the backline. Sonya goes down. Orphea able to pick off the Mephisto. Orphea able to pick off the Lucio in the backline as well. Greymane finds a way to get the Diablo, and Orphea, with that level 20 talent coming online, was able to just get into the backline, ignore the Diablo, have free reign to the backline, and was able to put down so much damage that Eldritch Conduit is going to be able to provide so much damage as long as Orphea can keep landing skill after skill, which she had no problem doing there in that team fight. So a nice turnaround coming out from Team Rippers, but it's a fantastic stun from the Hogger onto the Greymane under the tower. That is a quick pickup for the side of WildHeart Omega. Arthas trying to get himself away. The root coming out of the Stukov, but look at the damage from the Chromie. 2 shots and Stukov has got to get himself to safety. Holy moly there. Looking at the rest of some of these ultimates before, well, let's hold on there because Flailing Swipe does come out from the Stukov. 1, 2, here comes the third. Is he able to get it off? Ooh, the stun from the Hogger before the third Flailing Swipe can activate, and Arthas and Stukov both going down. Fantastic pickup from the Hogger and Diablo. Chromie providing so much damage in these fights. We'll see how Orphea is able to defend this. Her and Sonya looking like they're going to go and try to make some sort of a play, electing not to. Going to go down, and Sonya's going to try and create some more pressure here in this bot and mid lane. Orphea just going to try and clear some of these minions off. So now we can go through, well, maybe not. Orphea's got to be very careful. Diablo's in. She's not mounted up. The APOC does go off, but it does not land. Orphea able to get herself to safety. Flip back over. Stunned by the Hogger, and we do see Lucio coming in with the kill steal. Give one over to your support coming in. It's like, I want this one, guys. This one's mine. And we do see immediately Core Call being activated here. Greymane and Sonya are both alive to provide this defense. Greymane does have the Curse Bullet available. We'll see how they can play. The stun goes down onto the Mephisto. Able to get him down to about half health. Endurance of Hatred goes out. Oh my god! gosh, Diablo flipped him into the Durance of Hatred there, and that Greymane is not going to survive. That is a kill. Hogger chasing Sonya for good measure. The core is starting to burn. Shield is gone. Arthas and the Stukov are here to provide some sort of defense. Core sitting at about 70% health right now. Mephisto just chunking it down with the Chromie. Everybody's hitting on the core. Sonya is not even here trying to defend the keep, and that is GG's game 1 going over to WildHeart Omega. Holy cow. That kind of flipped on its head and just quickly ramped up. I mean, absolute major props going over to the Hogger, to the Mephisto. The Durance of Hatreds were just coming in left, right, and center. The flip, I mean, that was just a thing of glory in the end. The flip into the Durance of Hatred onto the Greymane, and Greymane just had nowhere to go in that entire play. Well done by WildHeart Omega. When it looked like the early game and mid game was going a bit shaky, it looked like the side of Team Rippers had a solid plan. We're executing it well with the Orphea and Greymane being able to blow up a lot of these targets with the Arthas, getting those 3 kills really quickly at the beginning of the game. The leap comes online for the Sonya, makes a couple plays around the first Immortal, but that second Immortal was able to be picked up. We didn't think it was going to get as much value because Sonya and Greymane were going to be able to provide a lot of map pressure. Did end up getting the fort, and then kind of after that, just these small pick plays, the Durance of Hatred underneath the keep, the defense over that top keep, the pick in the bot lane where it looked like it was Team Rippers all the way, and then the Durance of a 4-man Durance of Hatred comes out from the Mephisto and buys enough time that they're able to just shred through, and I get like a 3-for-0 kill there. You saw the plays continually being made. I mean, Chromie put out a respectable 55k damage in that game. You know, it wasn't like the massive amounts of damage that you kind of see out of the Chromies, but all of that damage stuck. Like every single bit of that damage was critical and just blew targets up left and right. So Chromie putting down some serious hurt with that 55k damage there. Hogger coming in second place with that 42k damage, was able to get onto the back line even without the Hortipult and was able to create a lot of chaos with the crowd control. Mephisto, again, not putting down a immaculate amount of damage, only at that 31k, but he was able to land those Durance of Hatreds over and over and over again. It was absolutely incredible to see coming out of Brown Balla there. Major props to the Orphea. She was definitely hard carrying her team, trying to get her team back into it. Greymane unfortunately missed a couple of curse bullets there, which may have turned the tides of some of those fights, and then ultimately going over to the talents, looking at this level 4 talent being picked up. I mean, it does reduce the cost of Frozen Waste, so maybe that was what he was electing to go with there. But it definitely, it's a great peel kind of talent, but you don't get the attack speed value out of it that you necessarily do. I mean, it's more crowd control utility, so I guess it does necessarily pair well with what they were going with instead of just going for the overall increased damage there. But GG's coming out from both teams. Let's get you guys back over to the map overview so you can see where we potentially will go next on this game too. Thank you to the 2 people, Toxic Nation for the follow, and Cherry for the follows on that last game. Definitely appreciate it. Glad you guys are coming out, having a good time watching these 2 teams duke it out here in this Heroic Division late night Sunday series going on. And it's on Pie Day too. So, get your slice of pie, sit on down, eat, and have a enjoyable late night game there. Hunter Dragoon, I'm still going to flame Balla for the one missed Durance. The one he missed in the top lane when he tried to pair it with the Immortal jump. It's funny. He literally landed like almost every single other one, and they were all beautiful. But he, tried to go for that 30% play up in the top lane, didn't connect it, and now everybody's going to flame him there. That's funny. Looking through just the chat real quick, seeing everything out. Looks like we got a lot of fans coming out for both teams. Got some serious WildHeart Omega fans coming in here, and we got some Rippers fans as well. Love to see both teams coming out, giving their respective teams a lot of support. Definitely enjoy it. But looks like the side of Team Rippers wanted to go with first pick here in the second series. Sorry, the second map. And so the side of WildHeart Omega got to pick the map, and they're going to send us on over to Battlefield of Eternity, which for me is one of my favorite maps to cast, because the draft phase of Battlefield of Eternity is probably one of my favorite parts of this game, looking at how each team elects to approach a oh shit. Goodness gracious. Sorry. Got another message on my buddies is having their second kid, so I was like, oh dang, they literally just had their first and now they're having their second. But anyway, back to Battlefield of Eternity. Yeah, we're sending out, like, you can see the teams elect to go for race, you can see them elect to go for map pressure, you can see them go for like a good siege comp and just say completely, screw the objective, we want to just siege this one up. And so it'll be interesting to see how these two teams decide to approach the pick and ban strategy. I don't think there's going to be any similar bans. I mean, we definitely will probably see the, me banking on knowing typically what happens up here. The Uther ban probably going to come through. We may actually see the Chromie ban come through as well. Li Ming typically has a little bit better pressure here on due to the race potential that she can provide, but Chromie may get out. Yeah, it is definitely it's COVID season, baby season. Everybody's inside, so we're getting lots of babies left and right. But I'm not kidding. Like, they have like a, how month old is it? Like 6-month-old, I believe, and they're already getting baby number 2 underway. That's nutty. I have a 3-year-old and I'm good with 1. Anyway, but both teams are here. Let me see if we can get the readies starting to come out here and get this game number 2 underway. I'm really excited to see how Team Rippers decides to come out on a map like Battlefield of Eternity. I mean, WildHeart Omega, they definitely were playing from behind for at least the first 10 minutes of that game, and they came out swinging in the second half. And definitely turned that game around. So we'll see if Team Rippers can kind of do the same, come out with a win here and send us to a potential game number 3. Here we go, getting into the draft. Battlefield of Eternity, WildHeart Omega leading this series 1-0. If you're a fan, how do you have a 6-month? It's not a newborn. They're gonna have a baby. They're pregnant. Sorry, maybe I said that they're having. I thought I said they're pregnant with their second one. Maybe I didn't. I'll have to go back and watch what I said. But no, they have a 6-month-old and they're now expecting their second. So small turnaround period, kind of deal. But Battlefield of Eternity underway here. WildHeart Omega with the 1-0. If you're a fan of WildHeart Omega, make sure you give your shout outs in the chat. If you want to see Team Rippers bring us to a 1-1 series, throw out your flair for the red team, and we'll get this going underway immediately. Chromie getting the respect ban here. She is not going to make it on Battlefield of Eternity. Had some pretty solid DPS coming out in that game number 1. We'll see if we can get game number 2 with a replacement mage coming from the side of WildHeart Omega. Like I said, Li Ming typically is one of the ones that we may see come out due to the burn potential here, but Uther, as expected, not going to make an appearance here as well. Uther is just in a really good spot right now, able to provide so much follow-up crowd control with the sustainability that he can provide the team and just the tanking. So we'll see. 1 in and 1 out, I guess. Yep, that's definitely a way of putting it. 1 in and 1 out. So we'll see what the teams elect to go for. It doesn't look like any race being banned out yet so far. We'll see if anything can continue to develop in that regard. Stukov being banned out here as well. So giving a nod both to the Chromie and then since they can't get the Stukov, or I guess they didn't want the Stukov first pick, so they're going to ban it out instead, so the side of WildHeart Omega can't have it, since they were the ones in Game 1 who took the Stukov pick. We're waiting the full 20 seconds to see what gets banned out for the side of WildHeart Omega, and it is going to be that Medivh. So very similar bans coming out from WildHeart Omega. Medivh having that very, very high ceiling due to in the hands of the right individual. But Falstad, I believe, was the only champion that was banned in Game 1 from these four. Chromie was not banned. Falstad was banned. They flipped those around. Chromie first picked in the game 1, banned out here in game 2. Falstad banned out in game 1, first picked in game 2. Falstad going to be able to provide. I'm curious to see how XXJP is going to build that Falstad, if he elects to go for that W build, or if he does go into what I consider the better build, that auto attack build. Meanwhile, Li Ming picked up as the mage player for Apparition, and Lupus gonna pick up Mei on a map where if Mei can get her positioning perfect, she can cause so many continual stuns around I want to say protector, but around the objective, around the immortals. Gonna be able to stun them in and make sure that she can get that chain crowd control coming out. We do see the Ana and the Orphea, so now we've got a steroided Orphea. So Orphea was able to put out an immense amount of damage in game 1. We saw it in the early game. We saw it in the late game when she got to 20. And now she has a nano-boosted Ana to be able to make her be able to cycle through her skills that much faster. That's going to be terrifying to deal with if they are able to get any sort of lead. Diablo being banned out from the side of the WildHeart Omega, the Lord of Terror, will not make a second appearance. No curtain call for the Diablo. And we will see what Team Ripper is able to respond with here in their bans. Looking at possibly a support ban or getting rid of some race potential. They haven't picked up their offlaner or tank themselves, so maybe we'll see a Rainer, maybe we see the Greymane, maybe we see the Tychus, and it is that Tychus ban. So looking like they don't want to deal with the anti-tank Shredder in this next map. So we're looking at a potential offlaner still, a support player, which with a Li Ming, I mean, there's still so many viable options. We could look at a special delivery Mei with an Anduin pairing, giving the light bomb over to Mei and having her jump right on into that Ana Orphea. But we do see it's going to be the Brightwing, anticipating some heavy engage due to the fact that they have a nano-boosted Orphea and a Falstad. Going to go with that Brightwing to provide that polymorph to whatever type of engage comes out from the side of Team Rippers, and Greymane being picked up, gonna provide that race potential and camp clearing potential for the side of WildHeart Omega. Meanwhile, Muradin getting picked up by Red X, and Rexar, which did get banned out in game 1, gets picked here by Champ of Horde in game number 2. So looking through this, we're looking for an offlaner. Ooh, Shen. All right, I'm excited. Again, typically don't see these champions in the like the Division C, D, and E kind of area that we're all playing meta stuff down there. But we get to see Shen, you know, people who have put so much time into these other champions. I'm really excited to see Shen, and it honestly is going to be able to do really good about picking out the Falstad or the Arphea and being like, you cannot escape. There's no way you're getting away from a Shen in the later games, mid game and late game here. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of this Shen in the top lane, especially once we get to that second and third immortal phase. But here we go, getting game number 2 loaded up. If you're a fan of WildHeart Omega, let's get them cheering going. If you want to see Team Ripper send it to a game 3, let's hear it. I am ready. The teams are in. Let's get them introduced. On the blue side, we have Valamir sitting on the Shen, Apparition sitting on the Leeming, Frosty Wind on that Brightwing, Lupus on the Mei, and Brown Bala sitting on the Greymane. Meanwhile, for the side of Team Ripper, on the red side, we got Nennial on the Orphea, we got Red X on the Muradin, XXJP sitting on that Falstad, we got Hope on the Ana, and up here we have got Champ of Horde sitting on the Rexar with his favorite bear, Misha. Looks like we got people coming in saying, I've never seen Bala on Greymane before. Does he know how to play that hero? Well, we'll find out. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to find out if Bala can play a Greymane. It is going to be that W build Falstad, not going to be the auto attack Falstad here in game 2. Murden going in with that Stormbolt build. He is going to be able to just provide so much crowd control and damage with them Qs when he gets that quest finished. But May getting stunned out here, popping the passive, but look at the damage. Orphea coming out strong again in this early game, putting down that May, and that is first blood again going in favor of Team Rippers, committing the 5-man to that fight. Shen just sitting up in the top lane, pretty much able to negate 3 minions worth of XP. Gonna jump on to Rexar and see if he can get anything picked off there. And now Rexar gonna go in. I'm curious about this matchup. It is not too often that I see a Rexar versus Chen matchup. Like, I really just want to park it here and watch these two guys go at it, because I have no idea how this match goes. I anticipate it's going to favor Shen just because he can jump onto the Rexar, like wait for Misha to engage and then just jump on Rexar. But we'll see. Like, we'll continue to poke our eyes up there and see how that lane goes in the top lane. Meanwhile, we're at full strength here in the bot lane. We've got both teams duking it out here. Murden actually getting stunned out. May getting a nice knockback on the Murden back into her snowfield, gets a stun. Orphea unable to land that Q there. And going back, peeking in the top lane, it's going, I guess, how I thought it might. Rexar sitting at about half health due to the fact that I'm guessing Shen is able to just jump on. But we do see this camp starting to be worked on by the side of Team Rippers. We do see WildHeart Omega trying to get it scouted out a little bit, but Greymane going to go around. He's going to just trade that up and try and go get the sneaky rotation to get the camp in the top lane. Meanwhile, the minion wave is not exactly where they want it. They wanted it at the other tower, but Rexar probably not going to go up and scout it out due to the fact that Shen is just able to put down so much damage on him, and Shen just jumping around from place to place trying to create so much chaos. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, this siege minion still not cleared out. The side of Team Rippers are going to go over and start picking up that camp. Meanwhile, Greymane has picked up that siege camp in the top lane, does miss the cocktail, so it has to jump himself back to safety. Rexar sitting fairly low in the mana pool. Shen, not at all. He's able to get himself sustained backed up. Did have his tap available. Misha taking some damage as well. You know, the one benefit that they do have is Falstad may be able to fly up, holding this camp until 250. Once that 250 comes on, he's going to walk on over, camp that, or pick up that camp. Meanwhile, the side of WildHeart Omega, they're able to get their own as well. Pants in chat. Didn't Paula say Greymane is bad? Well, he may have, but he picked it up, so we'll see how he can do with his Greymane. I'm really curious. It's so funny watching all these people talk about Paula on Greymane. I gotta remember, if they win this series, I gotta ask them about Bala pick. But here we go. We've got an engage coming over. Full commitment there. Frosty Wind getting very low. Orphea able to provide so much damage. Does get the follow-up kill, but at what cost? Murden getting low, able to jump himself away. Greymane was not able to finish it off. Falstad sitting fairly low as well. The Li Ming orbs come out, but do not connect. Greymane getting blown up, and Orphea immediately turning to go focus on that Li Ming. Greymane getting chucked all the way over his dead body. Poor Greymane getting thrown around like a rag doll there. But we do see this camp getting down this wall. The minion is getting focused, so it will get cleared on its own. So if you can make sure that you time it well enough that, you know, the minion gets focused by that bot camp, it really won't get as much value. It didn't even get the entire wall there. It's when it's got a minion wave in front of it that and one right behind it, that's when it's at its most destructive. So you gotta make sure when you're getting that into the mid and late game that that's the case. But we do see the 5-man coming up for the aggressor here. We do see Immortal putting down a stun. Does not land on it anyway. I thought it might have hit the Brightwing, but it doesn't. In halftime, definitely going in favor of Team Rippers. Already getting the opposing Immortal down to half health. Meanwhile, they're sitting at 15k themselves. Gonna go and just look like they're switching. They're gonna just race each other down and play for that first defense there. But honestly, this second phase is actually doing very well for WildHeart Omega. They're out racing pretty significantly here, getting it down to 2,500. So they were at about a 7k deficit at halftime, and they were able to shriek that down only to a 2k. So a nice 5k burn in their favor. But this first objective is gonna go into the bot lane for Team Rippers. They are gonna have the first push with the Immortal, and it will start in that, auto attack from range, not very long due to the shield being fairly low. Once that shield's gone, it will jump into that melee range, probably get the whole wall and nothing but the wall, and that will be the story of this first Immortal. We do see Rexxar rotating down aggressively with Misha in tow. They're looking to set up some sort of stun. The Immortal is now past that wall. The play is available. The stun going out of the Mei. Murden jumping deep onto the Greymane. Orphea in as well. Everybody able to get away. Brown Ball is sitting right in the middle of the whole team on the Greymane. Misha gets traded out for Greymane. That's a pretty good trade for Rexxar. And Mei getting the passive pop. Shen is now rotating his way down, but Mei will fall as well. This Immortal is still alive. Look what pushing past the Immortal did for that team. They took a barely shielded Immortal, pushed past, found a way to push past it, and are able to get them farm tower for it. And now they're looking for more. Shen getting low. Brightwing will be able to top him off, but now Brightwing is in deep. Frosty Wind getting fairly low. Misha there to provide the follow-up stun, and that is another kill going in favor of Team Rippers. Again, a very, very strong early game coming out of Team Rippers. The question is, can they keep it up here in Game 2? Somehow, WildHeart Omega were able to find their way back in that Game 1, and were able to get the W. Will they be able to pull a second comeback here? That's what we'll see when these level 10s come online. That's pretty much when the turnaround started to happen for the WildHeart Omega. These 10s are getting mighty close to coming online, but nice first Immortal pickup and push coming out from the side of Team Rippers. Gonna be able to start to paint this map pretty red. Falstad flying up, gonna be able to provide. He only has 7 stacks so far in that dishonorable discharge. Just not able to get those stacks as high as he wants, but he's getting a lot of camp pressure. Skullcracker on the Murden, love it. Absolutely love it. Is one of my favorite abilities coming out on Murden. Just being like, hey, on the off chance that this might stun you, yep it did. Wow, look at this fight. Shen going in deep with all the minions around, but not afraid at all. And Rexxar actually having to run himself away, but the rotation is coming down. Shen is in very deep, sees the rotation coming down. It's like, well, I got to go get the Rexxar. Murden jumping over, and this Shen's going nowhere. Look at that crowd control. Stun from the Shen, and then the sleep dart for good measure coming from the Ana. All 5 members are here, and they're pushing heavy for this keep, and nobody is in position. The back start's coming out, but they're not going to get there in time. And this is going to be at least the wall, if not the health fountain, and that would be a big pickup. 10s are online. They may just try and push past this. Murden going for the Avatar. Falstad has the gust. If he can get in behind, put these people out in front for the Orphea. They do get the blow-up kill onto the Murden. Nice pick under the tower going in favor of WildHeart Omega. I thought with the 10s coming online, they may try to just make a very aggressive play on this keep. Elect not to. Murden goes down. It is a very, very short death. He's coming back up in 10 seconds here, so he will be back before halftime. Both teams electing to go back to the race game and just burn their own Immortal and look to fight another day. Shen picking a fight with Misha over here. Leave the poor bear alone. But we are seeing about a 3K advantage, 2.5K in favor of WildHeart Omega here in the early game. This camp is being picked up by Team Rippers. They're not going for the defense. They're going for the camp. Meanwhile, WildHeart Omega, they're trying to pick up their own camp as well. So both teams kind of just stalling out here in the second half of this halftime phase. But the camp was picked up by Rippers. WildHeart did not pick it up, and WildHeart going heavy. Mei getting absolutely chunked out here. Murden popping the Avatar there. The Eternal Feast does go down, but Shen saying goodbye. You are getting knocked back to my team. I'm going to see if I can pull somebody else in here. Does not able to. Orphea sitting on the nano boost, but unfortunately Shen was able to provide so much disengage potential. Ooh, Ana is caught in the middle of that ice. Pings go out. Go get that Ana. Ana lands a fantastic sleep dart onto 2 members there, and Falstad able to get themselves to safety. Brightwing sitting fairly low. Orphea putting down so much damage. They are now chasing this Shen, getting fairly low. Jumps into the middle of the team. Misha lands a stun to interrupt that channel, and that is a nice turnaround kill for the side of Team Rippers. They are sitting at full strength. They do have siege minions in the top lane, putting down so much damage. Orphea looking like she wants to smell blood in the water, zoning everybody off. They haven't started attacking the Immortal here yet. Rexxar seeing this camps up, maybe just going to pass it by, and Murden and Ana, the 2 men on defense, while Orphea and Falstad go ahead and try and provide this burn. But look how deep they are on this defense, and that's exactly where they want to be. Use Misha, use Rexxar, try and get as much vision as they can. Misha gonna get herself to safety. Mei isn't able to land the stun. Misha getting herself all the way over. Nice pick pickup by the Murden there, and this second Immortal looking like it's going to go over. It does. That is the final blow from the Orphea, and that is a second Immortal being picked up by Rippers. And look at this top fort. It never got dealt with, and that is a fort going down. Will they just let the Punisher push in the top lane and go pick up the keep in the bot? It doesn't look like it. It looks like they're going to try and make a play, but it is 5v4 in favor of WildHeart Omega right now. They do have the full strength in the top lane. Rexar is not here. He's sitting in that bot lane. So we'll see if they are able to make this solid defense. I thought potentially they were going to go push the open keep and let the Immortal push in the top lane. Electing not to, electing to push with this Immortal. They had success with an Immortal push last time. Going to try the Immortal push again. Rexar not quite having the minion wave where he wants to yet. The Immortal already down to about half health, and this Immortal going to get chunked all the way out. All 5 members committed to the defense. Rexar now using Misha to kind of tank up this keep, only about to get it to about half health, and ultimately Team Rippers not able to get as much value in that second Immortal as they did with the first one. We'll see if that play does come back to bite them a little bit in the butt, or if they're able to just, you know, brute force their way into another victory here. Bottom camp's being picked up. Murden just trying to get any type of vision he can, kind of sitting around this corner due to the fog of war so that nobody can really see him unless they come directly at him. Looking like he wants to see it. Getting some shout outs by Saren Salazar on the Orphea play. Absolutely. I always think that Orphea is probably one of the hardest carrying champions in the game in the hands of a person who knows how to play an Orphea, which we are definitely see coming out of Nennial here. Absolutely knows how to play Orphea, knows the strengths and weakness, knows how to play it aggressively, but also keep your positioning very safe. 13's now coming online for the start of WildHeart Omega. Now they can aggressively go get their camp, knowing that they're on that even talent tier. The side of Team Rippers, they're not able to create as much free pressure as they can, but we do see the Murden rotating down, not able to get there in time. That camp is picked up by Rippers, and it should be very easily cleared out by the side of that was picked up by WildHeart Omega. Ripper should clear it out, no problem at all, and start creating some pressure in the bot lane. And there are 3 members for WildHeart Omega in this top lane. They elect not to go for any more increased pressure, maybe go pick up their own camp, maybe just do the first halftime burn and then go pick up their camp during the halftime. They're positioning for more of a burn play right now. Li Ming going to be able to, or sorry, a defensive play right now. Falstad going to be doing the burn by himself. Misha just being a champ over here, tanking everything. Ooh. Li Ming not quite able to finish the bear off here, but Alana having a hard time landing the heals onto the bear. And right now the burn is definitely in favor of the Team Rippers just for a second here. Halftime going over, favoring Team Rippers ever so slightly. A 3K advantage here. Going over, picking up their camp again, trying to get another good timer on it. Murden going to get the defense while the rest of the team picks up the camp. But the camp's being picked up rather slow here. This burn is going down, favoring WildHeart Omega. They're able to even it out and actually get themselves a 4K. Icewall comes out, does land onto the Rexar. That is it. Gus going down, lands 3 members back right on top of the Murden, but the Chen is able to knock the Orphea away. Li Ming does end up trading her life, but we've got Orphea getting into the back line, sitting fairly low. Brown Ball able to finish him off with the Mei, but Ana able to keep everybody else fairly healthy there. This Murden is jumping in on the Shen. Shen getting stunned out, should go down. Falstad will be able to supply a lot of damage with that W, and we do see the Mei trying to get herself to safety. Murden jumping ahead in to interrupt any type of play, and now they're going straight for this keep. The minions have broken down the wall. The minions are sieging in the top lane. Bottom keeps going down, and everybody going to go back, pick up this last Immortal, get Orphea back with the team, and push for victory. Glass Cannon picked up by Li Ming. I just noticed that. I know they picked up their 13s a little while ago. I was wondering how Li Ming just immediately evaporated from that fight. Like, I thought she was doing okay. I know Misha got onto her, but Glass Cannon with a Murden and a Rexar and an Orphea. I mean, you got to be really careful with your positioning on a Li Ming when you're you got those champions on you, because if they land one stun on Li Ming, she gone. Like, Orphea is going to put her full combo down, and Li Ming's going to say goodbye. But here we go. We have the Immortal picked up by Team Rippers. They do have this final Immortal, or potentially final Immortal. Sorry, don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. Misha, they hate this bear, and this bear loves to live, and Rexar doing an excellent job keeping the Misha alive. I think we're seeing why that Rexar got the ban in that game one, was able to get through, actually was one of the last pickups here for the side of Team Rippers in this game too, but the Immortal starting to create his siege. This keep is not long for this world. They're going to continue to push down. Raid coming in from Bonkai here. We have an excellent raid of 37 people. Thank you so much for everybody joining. This is a heroic division match coming in between WildHeart Omega and Team Rippers, and we will see if Team Rippers are able to close this game out and create a 1-1 series here. It is not over yet. Falstad getting caught in that ice wall. The internal fleece is being popped by the Orphe to create some zoning pressure, but the bear is there for care. He is getting every side of his zoning potential there. Brightwing able to top off that May, and the disengage coming out for Team Rippers, giving you guys a little bit of a, there is no sound. There definitely is sound. I believe it is just you. Otherwise, that would be a really cruel joke for everybody not to tell me for 2 games that there was no sound coming out at all. But anyway, getting in here to give that recap for everybody coming in, we had an excellent early game coming out of Team Rippers in game 1 on Infernal Strides. We're playing the beginning game beautifully, and then WildHeart Omega found their way back. So once 10s came online, they battled themselves back, got themselves the win in game 1 with some excellent play out of a Mephisto landing Durance of Hatrix like it was his day job, and eventually ended up taking that away. Game 2, it's been pretty much all Team Rippers. They came out with that super aggressive early game again, were able to get themselves off to a beautiful start, and are now closing this game out. We'll see if they are able to put the nail in the coffin here. The gauge comes down. The Eternal Feast is going to put so much damage down onto that Greymane, and he is gone. Gus going down, catches the May and the Brightwing. Brightwing blinks herself away, but Falstad says, I don't care, I'm jumping in anyway. Maybe too a little aggressive coming out of Falstad onto there for some support, and Orphea putting down so much damage on this May. They really only need the 1 kill in the back line. Rexar is like, hey, I'm here to provide the crowd control. That's 2 kills picked up by Team Rippers. Rexar is going to go and see if Misha can land that next stun, but this core is not long for this world. We'll see what kind of heroics can come out of this Shen and Li Ming. Glass Cannon Li Ming, maybe she can find that random QW combo and blow somebody up, but Falstad jumps in and is going to put down some damage. Shen getting stunned out here by the Murden. Misha there for good measure. Falstad getting very low, having to get himself to safety, but the death timers are being stalled out here. They've done a good job with the defense. Brightwing is in, gets on the Shen to keep him safe, gets the blink heal back to Li Ming. The core is down to about 90%, but Greymane is back. Maze here in 7 more seconds. Falstad is basically at 0 health and is isolated away from his healer, so he's not getting healed at hope. Sorry, I don't know what I just said. Not getting healed at all. Rexar is going to be able to provide that escort out for the Falstad, and that is a pretty solid defense coming out of the side of WildHeart Omegas. Those death timers were just a little too low to close out the game. Rexar's gone. Misha's gone. Misha just teleported. See you. Bye, Misha. Rexar able to get the channel for the back off. Gets the Hearthstone. And we do see this siege camp being picked up by the side of Team Rippers. They've given up that first halftime, which has been kind of their MO for this map. Murden jumping all the way in, saying, let's go, I'm ready. Getting himself down to about half health. He is there, has not popped the Avatar yet. Eternal Feast does go down. It blows up that Greymane. Ana is following up. Falstad getting that Eternal Gust onto the May and the Shen. Shen able to get himself to safety for just a second, but does go down. Orphea putting down so much damage now that 20s are online. That's a 4-man kill, and Team Rippers not even going to care about the Immortal. They're going to make the core call. They're going to come all the way in and end this game, sending us over to a game 3. Hype trains, let's get them going. We are going all the way in this heroic division series. I know it's late, but we are going for one more game. GG's coming out from both teams. Well played by Team Rippers here in game number 2. Holy cow, that was an absolute fun series coming out there. I mean, the turnaround coming in, the response by Team Rippers, knowing that they had a great Orphea play in game 1, they just needed a little bit more of something to get that Orphea going, and the nano boosted Ana was just an absolute game changer. Like Anna's Nana boost was making Orphea just pop off with the damage, was going so crazy. The Rexar and the Muradin crowd control stuns were just insane. Falstead was able to get in there with some aggressive plays at the end to get some of those W stacks going here. But credit where credit was due. I definitely think that the Orphea was able to put some carry pants on here in game number 2. We saw the potential in game 1. I definitely do not think that Orphea is going to see a third appearance here in this series. Maybe she does. That's TBD right now. But everybody before the game was given Brown Bala so much flavor stuff, smack talking about his disdain for playing Greymane. And again, like I said, if they win, maybe we'll find out why they decided to go the Greymane. But they picked up the Greymane. Didn't think it played terribly. Just it wasn't able to finish off the targets as much as they wanted to. The Shen versus Rexar, I'm just so sad that I didn't get to watch that matchup. It looked like Shen potentially had the advantage in the laning phase, but man, oh man, did Rexar have so much team fight potential. Coming down, making some great rotations, especially on that first Immortal where Rexar came all the way down for the first Immortal, got behind the team and said, you guys want to run away from my team, but I'm here with a bear and we're making sure you're not escaping, picking up like 3 kills and the bottom tower with a almost no shielded first Immortal and taking it all the way to the keep. That was pretty much the play of the early game in this series so far. But that was a treat watching that Shen versus Rexar matchup. But we'll see how each team adjusts here for the game number 3. Getting a lot of Orphea love. I absolutely agree. There was a ton of fun stuff coming out from the Orphea in that game number 2. But let's get you guys over to the map screen. We already have the third lobby created. I am actually the last one. These teams are ready to rock and roll. They're hyped up on something. The map is going to be picked up by the side of WildHeart Omega. So they had the final choice here in game 3 since they lost last series to pick map or first pick. They picked the map and they're sending us to Dragonshire. So far, picking the map has been the Achilles heel of this series. We'll see if that is the case once again, or if finally the team that picks the map... Oh, nope. Sorry, they just switched it on me. I have it wrong. Okay. So WildHeart Omega wanted first pick. And they have first pick in this draft. So Team Rippers sent us to Dragonshire. But we get to see the same narrative. Is it going to be the team that picks the map loses the map? Or will Team Rippers change that narrative here in game number 3 and find a way to win the series in that reverse sweep fashion? All the teams are here. I'm throwing out my ready because I'm excited to get into this game number 3. We'll see if these two teams are ready to rock and roll as well. We may have a second for a bio break here or there. Anywhere. I don't know. I'm scrolling through chat seeing if I missed anything. Looks like there's just a lot of sound confusion and a lot of Orphea hype, which I agree. Greymane, not as strong as he once was. I 100% agree with that statement. I don't know why. I don't think he got as many nerfs as I thought. I don't think he got a ton of nerfs at all. Something happened and he just kind of fell off. Maybe the rise of the Cassia, last summer was just enough to knock Greymane kind of off of his throne. And then we saw the meta kind of shift into this double bruiser meta where Tychus started becoming popular, Malthael started becoming popular, and everybody just got so tanky that Greymane and so much crowd control that Greymane was like, meh. I'm going to take a coffee break on this one and maybe, wait till my time to shine again. But I definitely agree. I don't think Greymane is near as popular as he once was. But I think eventually he will come back to his rightful place atop of the throne of some significant AD assassins coming out from the champion pools here. We'll see. I really like things like Mephisto and Falstad all of a sudden making their rise back to the top of the champ. Like Falstad being at the top of the assassin pool. That's kind of fun and weird to see at the same time. Like Falstad was usually that like niche one-off champion, just like, we'll throw Falstad into our composition and just out macro them. And now Falstad has like this amazing kit that can put out so much damage in late game T fights that you're just like, huh, okay. This is kind of weird to see, like a Falstad actually being with the team all the time, but putting out a butt ton of damage. So we've got some readies coming out from some of these teams. Looks like I've got the readies from both teams, and here we go. Game 3, 1 apiece, coming in for the final draft of the night. I do not think we see Orphea. I do not think we see Chromie. I think both of those are off the table, but that means Uther is potentially back on the table. I doubt it, but potentially. Rexar may be available again. It's Dragonshire, so maybe we'll see a Rexar ban as well. But other bans that have been coming out on the night that may finally start to see their appearance. The Medivh. Is the Medivh going to finally make its way? It's been banned out early in both games. Maybe we'll see the Medivh sneak on to the Nexus now. I mean, who knows how these teams are going to approach this final ban series. Maybe we'll start to see some really crazy comps here in Game 3. Teams pull out all this stuff. But we will not see Medivh. He will get banned out here in Game number 3. All 3 games, all 3 first bans for the Mage. Which is good if you're a Rippers fan, because you're like, okay, that's 1 ban away from Orphea. Chromie getting deleted here as well. I believe it was Apparition that played an amazing Chromie game in Game 1, just put so much damage down. Rexar getting the nod. I definitely think Rexar played excellently last game. Champ of Horde put on a pretty good clinic for that Rexar, and this is one of Rexar's better maps, so getting rid of the Rexar, definitely something. So maybe we're looking at a potential Orphea steal from WildHeart Omega, or the Ana steal, and saying, like, go back to playing Orphea without your Ana and see if you can do it again. Uther getting the final ban, so Medivh and Uther are getting banned in all 3 games in the first rotation. Never going to see the light of day here on Dragonshire. And first pick, there's so many choices. Potential steals. Do we take the Ana? Do we take the Orphea away so they can't run that combination? Do we go ahead and lock in that Diablo? Do we take... Ooh, Sonya. Okay. Saw Sonya in that game number 1. I believe it was... Was it Team Rippers that ran the Sonya in game 1? Yeah, it was. Team Rippers ran Sonya in game number 1. They first picked Sonya in game number 1. Went with the Leap Sonya to try to deal with that Chromie, but didn't get there. Orphea immediately locked in. Daniel's like, yep, you're going to give it to me. I'm going to take it. And we're seeing Orphea a 3rd time. And the Lost Vikings coming in early, too. In the first rotation, don't want to see it banned out. So Champ of Horde gonna lock in the Lost Vikings here on game number 3. That means Falstad was still available for a pickup, and Brown Bala gonna take the Falstad for himself here on Dragonshire. Stukov being picked up as well provides a lot of great crowd control over this Shrine objective. The Lost Vikings. All right. Going to be able to soak a lot. Also going to be able to put a lot of pressure in that top lane while keeping control over the top lane. So, but they'll probably put... I'm guessing it's going to be a 2 in the top, 1 in the mid. And just, you know, control the objective and control the lane as well against the Sonya, who has to commit 1 to one or the other, but I wouldn't have thought they would have picked him up immediately. Like, they locked him in hard. First rotation of their picks. I would have thought it would come in the 2nd, or since they had last pick, maybe saving it all the way for the 3rd. Diablo getting the ban out as well. Wow, and here comes Jason with our raids. Welcome, everybody coming in. Thank you so much. Everybody, make sure you go over to Jason's channel, drop a follow, give him some love. Thank you so much for the raid. I will try and fill everybody in on what has been happening. This has been an awesome series. We are in heroic division between WildHeart Omega and Team Rippers. They are sitting at 1 apiece right now. WildHeart Omega was behind in game one, found a way to battle back in game number one to take the win. Game number two, Team Rippers came out strong and never let up, and they came out with a pretty dominant showing on Battlefield of Eternity in game number two to even this series out one apiece. And here we are in the draft for game number three. Cassia and May picked up by the side of Team Rippers, going for a very strong point control composition over that bottom shrine and gonna let the Lost Vikings do the rest of the story. Meanwhile, Johanna, and we're seeing Li Ming yet again for Apparition, locking it in. Johanna there to just delete that potential from the Cassia, and we see the Ana getting locked in. Final pick. We're seeing the Ana Orphea. We're seeing the Lost Vikings. I really think Team Rippers got a draft they wanted. We'll see if they can execute it one more time here in game three. Meanwhile, looking at WildHeart Omegas, a lot of similar comps. They kind of took their comps from both of the first two games and meshed it together and said, let's see what this can do. They took the Falstad away. They got the Stukov. They got the Sonya, Li Ming from game two, and they threw Johanna into the mix and said, there, we now have a very, very heavy engage outside of the May. They ran May in game two, wasn't quite getting the direct engage potential that they wanted. Now they got the Blessed Shield, and they're like, Li Ming, this one, blow it up. So we'll see if that Johanna switch will be enough to propel them to a game three victory, come out with a stronger early game since they have a much stronger champion pool or champion tank in the early game this go around. But I am excited for this game three. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into it one last time. If you want to see Blue WildHeart Omega take the series, throw out your flare in the chat. If you want to see Team Rippers do the reverse sweep all the way to completion, be able to throw up your support for them. Let's get these teams introduced. On the blue side, we have WildHeart Omega. We got Apparition sitting on the Li Ming, Valimar sitting on the Sonya, Brown Bala on the Falstad, Lupus sitting on that Johanna, and Frosty on that Stukov. Meanwhile, on the side of Team Rippers, we got Orphea flaring it up again. We got Nennial on the Orphea one more time. Hope sitting on the Ana, Red sitting on the May, Champion Horde all on the Vikings, and we got XXJP on the Cassia. And here we go. Cassia going with the stacks, Falstad going with the the W build in this game. Gonna see if he can stack it up. Li Ming going for the early teleport, going with that Aether Walker, gonna be able to put out extra damage on her Qs when she hops herself around on this map, putting down some damage onto the Vikings there. May gonna go and try and pick off that Falstad, Brown Ball getting himself to safety, but Orphea once again putting out so much early game damage. Johanna getting down fairly low. The Vikings trying to get this health fountain finished off, but Sonya says, no, you go away, and that is a kill going over for Sonya there. Meanwhile, in this mid lane, big skirmish coming out. Nobody is falling, electing to just heavy push this middle lane. Vikings getting the soak in the bot lane. So we do see a Vikings in all three lanes. We are potentially going to see a pause come out here, and we do see that pause. Looks like somebody ran into a bit of a connection issue, starting to recall. Looks like May lost their connection. Should be coming back here any minute. But looking at some of these talents coming out in the early game, pretty standard builds, honestly, all across the board. Yeah. Sonya, again, going for that furious blow, going to be able to punch through some of these Vikings rather quickly. We do have the May back, apologizing for the disconnect, getting the readies coming out, and here we go back into game. And Falstad finishing up the soak in this mid lane. We do see the side of Team Rippers going for their camp. The side of WildHeart Omega also picking up their siege camp as well. The Vikings are committing into this top lane as expected. I expect this one to eventually rotate themselves away, but we do see a potential engagement and actually a camp steal being picked up by Team Rippers there. Sorry, I got mesmerized by the dancing Viking there that we ended up missing the steal. I thought they were just going to go and harass them off it, but they actually committed with the Mei to the steal. We have the channel already going up, but Falstad is here, going to be able to pick up the kill on the Viking, deny the Dragon pickup, but Falstad's got to be very careful, able to get himself away. Mei knocks him back. Orphea here for the damage, and Falstad, you are gone. First blood, actual first blood, going over to the team of Team Rippers there, getting that first official kill. The Vikings still looking on one more death before they are counted, and Ana gonna be able to put some sort of, was looking to go get some sort of pressure on the Dragon, unable to pick it up. But Team Rippers having full control over this bot lane, gonna go down and start picking up this minion camp in the bot lane, see if they can get even more macro pressure. And that's what the Team Rippers have done very well here in this series. This whole series is they've been on top of their camps. They've been getting their camps on a very, very strong timer. I mean, look at this. This is mean. The Viking is just harassing Sonya and dancing. It's fun to see. But and meanwhile, the side of Team Rippers in the bottom lane are just able to create a lot of pressure with that mercenary camp that they're able to pick up, get one tower, potentially going to get a second one here. Both of the Dragon's shrines are channeled. Sonya going to go up, try to negate that, but right now they have no way of clearing out this Falstad. They really don't need to. They just want to create more siege pressure in this bot lane, have this 4-on-3. Li Ming's not really going to have any kill pressure unless she gets people low, and that health fountain is gone. So a nice pickup. Falstad is rotating his way into the fight here, putting the damage down onto the Mei, trying to get those stacks going up. Orphea in a bit of a rough spot right now, getting slowed out by the Stukov, and does get killed. Mei diving in real deep to save the Orphea, ends up committing too heavily and trades her life as away as well. So good 2 pickups coming out here for WildHeart Omega, getting those kills. Stukov getting that nice slow onto the Orphea to secure the kill for his team. And these Vikings are just causing so much pain for this Sonya in the top lane, just being that annoying presence in this top lane. But the channel is starting for the Falstad. We do have the Vikings here trying to commit to delaying as much as they can. Sonya was able to get one of those Vikings killed up there in the top lane. Cassie and Ana are here to bully this Johanna off the objective in the bot lane, and now we are back to the same story we were at just a minute ago. WildHeart Omega playing defensive in the bot lane. Team Rippers trying to be an aggressive in the siege of the bot lane, using the Vikings to create enough pressure into the top lane, but Falstad is here. He's coming down. He's got these rotations down now, able to put down some damage on the Cassia, make her back herself all the way up. And this siege is continuing to happen. All towers are down. The health pool is down. Nice sieging coming out from the side of Team Rippers, doing what they can and looking to be aggressive yet again on this camp. Mei setting herself up, gonna go all the way in. Doesn't get the steal this time. Orphea not able to follow up with the damage. Ana was not able to land the sleep due to the unstoppable on the Johanna with the iron skin, but Cassia electing to go and pick up this mercenary camp. And like I said, Rippers, if they've been doing one thing great all night, I mean, they've been doing a couple things great all night, but they have been absolutely on top of their mercenary camp game and outplaying the macro game with the mercenary camps over the side of Team Rippers. I believe they've had the first to 10 in both the first 2 games. Not there yet in this game due to the fact that there's a 3-to-1 kill gap, but if they can find some sort of way to get that kill, another Viking picked up by the Falstad there, and if they can find a way to get one of these kills, Mei going in, seeing if she can find the Li Ming. Li Ming getting herself to safety with the teleport there, but Stukov may get himself stunned out, doesn't. Orphea wasn't quite in range to land those jaws. And Cassia actually in very deep. Gust coming out, Blasted Shield being popped as well. 10s came online, and Cassia is dead, getting a little too aggressive before the 10s were online. The 10s popped, and we do see the 10s. We've seen a couple, Blessed Shield and Gust already. Sonya going with the leap. Li Ming going with the wave of distortion or wave of force, and Stukov going with those flailing swipes. Meanwhile, 10s online for the side of Team Rippers. We see the nano boost coming in for the Ana. We see the Eternal Feast for the Orphea already being committed here. The Avalanche coming in for the Mei. We do see that this Johanna is getting fairly low. We did The Stukov was able to keep her alive, but we got the ball of lightning now picked up by the Cassia, and last but not least, play again. Coming for the Vikings, just going to be able to keep themselves on the map, make Sonya's life even worse. And even though they're losing a lot of these team fights, Team Ripper are able to get so much siege pressure in this bot lane. They control the bottom shrine. They've got the bottom fort down to about half health so far. Cassie going up to give a little bit of support to the Vikings in the top lane. And we're pretty much seeing the Team Rippers, even though they're playing from behind, they're still the ones that are forcing WildHeart Omega to react to them. WildHeart Omega now looking like they're potentially making a play to be the aggressors. Falstad trying to come in. He has the Gust available. The Blessed Shield is online. He's not able to find the target that he wants. Orphea able to get herself to safety. So Falstad here just to provide some wave clear, some presence in the bot lane. Meanwhile, the Vikings are doing just an excellent job of keeping this Sonya under control in the top lane, getting these camps in the mid lane. We do see this fight potentially starting to form here in the bot lane. Mei landing the stun onto the Li Ming. Li Ming teleporting away. The Nano Boost is popped onto the Orphea bomb. Nano Boost popped it on the Orphea, but Falstad does an excellent job disengaging with the Gust, able to get their team away and safely to fight another day. The Dragon is available yet again for these Vikings, but they just cannot pick it up with this Falstad being around, being able to, throw out that pesky Q. Make sure that they do not go and pick up that dragon, but this camp is getting stolen by the side of Team Rippers. Johanna does check it out. She is on the point. We do see a fight starting to brew over this point. The avalanche goes down, throws the Stukov away. Stukov is not here. Johanna pops the Iron Skin. Cassia throwing down the bouncing lightning, ball of lightning there. Does pick up the Li Ming. The final bounce lands onto Li Ming's dome. The dragon was picked up by the Vikings, and here come Team Rippers in game 3, getting a nice fight right around that camp, able to get the camp as well. So that's a good pickup coming out for the side of Team Rippers there. Good plays all around, able to get, look at the control they were able to get over this bot lane. Falstad getting punted all the way into enemy territory, able to get himself to safety here, but this Dragon Knight gonna siege up the mid lane, sitting at about 45% health, punting Falstad away again, gonna try and siege up as much as you can in the mid lane. Sonya trying to keep this pressure in the top lane just even, but she's chasing these Vikings around, and these Vikings are just making life literally hell for Sonya. Look at this micro play coming out of Champa Horde right now, just being like, come on, chase me, chase me. It's insane. Oh, the Dragon is able to pick up that final objective. The root comes out. Falstad is here. They should get this. Ooh, Blessed Shield popped on the Ana. Leap followed up, and that is a very big explosion going down on the Ana. The ball of lightning is bouncing around. Mei is here to see if they can provide any sort of follow-up kill onto the Sonya. Sonya spinning to win and to get herself to safety, keeping herself sustained. Does go down. Orphea is now falling in tow to see if she can get the Falstad. The swipes come out, but Mei is looking like she wants to re-engage. Orphea is here, electing not to go in. That was eventually a 1-for-1 trade, the Ana for the Sonya there. Massive blow up coming out of the side of WildHeart Omega. Absolutely critical to picking up that play, catching Ana a little bit out of position there. But Falstad sitting at about 26 stacks right now. The later this game goes, the more terrifying this Falstad is going to be, committing fully to this W build. He's going to be able to commit to putting that W down on Cassia, who's looking to get in within melee range to provide any sort of damage. So we'll see how Brown Balla is able to play around this Cassia and see if he can delete this Cassia before she's able to put down the immense amount of damage that we're seeing Cassia put out in some of these team fights, especially onto the squishier targets like Li Ming. Hunter's Dragon throwing out the Frosty Wind root was play of the game. Yeah, Stukov absolutely coming in critical with some of these slows in the early game, and now with that 13 online, getting some of these roots here as well. It's absolutely critical. But Sonya getting rotated heavily upon here. Mei down the snow, leap going out, and there's no way to catch a Sonya who decides to leap herself to safety. Clearing out the camps, gonna provide a lot of siege pressure here in this top lane. And we're going to see another potential play. The Vikings being used as bait. You do not have the leap available this time. Sonya. Johanna committing the ball of lightning already. Play again popped by the Vikings, wanting to come back in full strength to get some very strong siege pressure with these minions. Using it with only one Viking dead, but able to get all these members back, and we do see an invade onto the camp coming out of Team Rippers yet again. Stukov is caught due to the flailing swipes. The stun doesn't land from the Ana, but the Stukov getting thrown into a snowball and literally deleted from the map by the rest of the team. Team Rippers are just being so aggressive here in this game 3, playing it well in game 1 and 2 with this aggressive play style. And it worked, and so they're running it back here in game 3, being absolutely aggressive. Get the dragon yet again. Second pickup coming out for the side of Team Rippers, and they're looking to send it mid. I anticipate it to go bot, but maybe they'll keep it mid just because it's a Vikings. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is going to go and siege up this bot lane as the 4-man. And the Dragon just going to commit to the middle, going to play it very safely. And if there's one thing we've seen coming out of this Vikings player so far, Champa Horde, it's his ability to play the micro game, able to micro these Vikings so well, so he can just be very, very patient on this Dragon, make sure that he gives his team adequate time to set up some sort of siege in whatever lane they want. Sonya getting the punt away from the Dragon. We do have one of the Vikings sieging up this top lane, but with 42 seconds still on the death timer. We'll see if he decides to pop play again. Doesn't look like it. He's going to wait this full timer out. Since he's in the Dragon, you might as well just wait the full timer out. But May getting caught out a little bit here. Pops the passive. The Eternal Feast are thrown down by the Orphea there for some sort of disengage. Cassia getting caught out a little bit. Sonya is here. Will they be able to provide any sort of follow-up? Nope. Dragon able to punt away and make sure that there is no follow-up potential. So a pretty good, I'm going to call it a pretty good stall out coming from WildHeart Omega again. And that is what they did. That was kind of like their turnaround in game 1, was they were able to find a way to like kind of stall out this aggressive style coming out of Team Rippers, get themselves to a even talent tier, and then we're able to be the ones that finally found those two plays, those two pick plays, and were able to get themselves in this late game in game 1 back into the game, and eventually that win. So we'll see if they can do it here again in game number 3, kind of stalling it out, waiting for that prime opportunity, potentially getting some sort of stun onto the Orphea or the Cassia or the Ana, really just anything but this May. But looks like they are committing to the May. May getting rooted out here. Absolutely critical root coming out of the Stukov. The follow-up leap is there. Ana getting absolutely bullied. The nano boost being dropped onto the Orphea. This is the play that they needed. WildHeart Omega found the pick play. Orphea is looking for some sort of follow-up. The Vikings are just being in the backline looking for the kill on Sonya, able to find it there. Diving all the way in, aggressively diving out. But Cassie able to jump in and find the pick on the Falstad. So we do see a nice trade eventually coming out. They got the pick onto the May. We're able to delete her, but then only sacrificing 2 Vikings for another kill, and now this is turned around for Team Rippers, and they are being the aggressors here. Cassia committing with the Vikings player to getting that pick onto the Falstad, in addition to finishing off that Sonya, and a nice pickup again by Team Rippers, playing around this Vikings player and getting this macro game continuing to progress in their favor. I anticipate they're going to just try and paint this map as red as they can and go for this third Dragon while they wait for May to come back online. Nobody's setting up for this bottom shrine yet. Looks like we got some rotations coming down now from them. Meanwhile, the Vikings are going to create enough pressure that they can continue to siege with this mercenary camp in the top lane. And this Dragon is pretty much fully in their control right now. Cassie going to go up, start the minion camp first, then go get the channel off. Meanwhile, we got the Vikings in the top lane getting these channel off, and this shrine is available. Nobody on it yet. Nobody's done the full channel. Vikings going ahead and going to go pick up the mercenary camp. The 19s are too close to 20 that there's no real reason to rush this right now. 20s will be online even if they had picked up the Dragon and run it all the way up to the fort, so they're not in any rush. They want to make sure they get every ounce of map that they can before they take this Dragon in for a potential game-ending push. Meanwhile, 20's online coming in. Leeming upgrading the Wave Force. Johanna upgrading the Blessed Shield. Stukov upgrading the swipes. We got Sonya going for that extra armor, getting massive amount of armor to deal with this Cassia. And we do see the Falstad going with that upgrade to the Gust. Going to be able to blow opponents away, keep them in a corner if they can, and that's the play they're kind of looking around. A Blessed Shield into a Gust kind of combo to lock everybody into a corner and let Ming and Sonya get those kills with the reset potential. The good news is if they can get one of the Vikings in that, then Li Ming's going to get double damage, which is just awesome for Li Ming. Li Ming's like, yes, please, I want to do that. So we'll see what they're able to pick off here. Meanwhile, the Siege is being fully committed to in the bot lane by Team Rippers. They're kind of just stalling out, waiting for this Merc camp in the top lane. Falstad is there for the answer to try and prevent any push, but we do see the Dragon Knight already starting to siege up this bot lane, but two of the Vikings looking like they're going to go down here. Sonya just there to finish off the last one. Both dead. The play again is there for the Vikings. They are able to get everybody back online, but the siege potential is pretty much stalled in the bot lane right now, and that is the end. The Viking is now out. He is able to get everybody back if he can get himself to a safe spot. Mei trying to get herself to safety. If this last Viking does go down, this could spell bad news for Team Rippers. The Siege camp still in the top lane, but Li Ming able to get that last Viking player. The other two look like they were channeled in time though, so they are back alive. Maybe got the kill like right as the channel was going off there for the side of Team Rippers. So ultimately, you know, we'll say hashtag worth, but we'll see. Finally, WildHeart Omega are like, yes, we can get our own siege camp. I think it's the second time they picked it up. I think they got a steal on one of them, but they had to steal their own camp. And now they were able to pick it up cleanly on their own. And we'll see. Ooh, stun going down on Sonya. Two Vikings are itching for some sort of a fight there in the mid lane. Nobody gonna rotate up quite yet. See if they can get a flank onto the Sonya. Sonya does have the leap available, so she will be able to get herself to safety pretty easily. They may get this pick onto Olaf here. Bye. See ya. We'll be able to come back online in 30 seconds, so doesn't have to wait the full 60 seconds to come back on there. But a pretty good pick up there, but we do see... Is that Eric? I wish I knew all the Vikings. I don't know them all quite yet, but Vikings sieging in the top lane. Meanwhile, we do see this potential counter engage coming out of Team Rippers. They have their full strength and what they're looking for in this kind of a fight. This is the fights they've been looking for all game. They've got the members here. They have the Nano online. Mei getting herself to safety rather than going all the way in. So they're kind of just playing patient. Again, maybe a little bit of indecisiveness coming out of Team Rippers here in the late game, throwing a little more respect. They know the Sonya, or maybe are anticipating that the Sonya is here, so now the fight is no longer in their favor. They were able to pick up the keep with the siege potential in the top lane, so they're just kind of delaying out, waiting for Sonya to respond to the Vikings that are creating, like we said, an immense amount of siege pressure all over the map, and now they're looking like they're going to go try and start up siege in that mid lane. And they're just kind of waiting until everybody on WildHeart Omega have to run away and respond again to this macro play coming out of the Champ of the Horde and picking up, you know, what's going on the other side of the map. This Merc camp will be picked up. The Dragon is available for channeling, but any team fight at this point in the game that is in favor of Team Rippers, they're just going to push to win. And so we're, you know, this is like kind of the calm before the storm here going on. Both teams kind of just hesitant to start this final fight, Game 3. This is a huge fight that's potentially going to come out in this Game 3. Both teams are looking for those potential picks. Fighting over this Dragon Shrine. Meanwhile, the side Team Rippers, they're perfectly fine letting this game be a slow, patient game. Ooh, the stun landing onto the Janna without the Iron Skin. Unstoppable pop, the leap going on under the Ana. Follow up with the Blessed Shield. That is one pick onto the Ana there. The Falstad flying in late. The Eternal bouncing balls is continuing to spread, but eventually gets out. Meanwhile, Team Rippers were able to pick up the keep in the bot lane. So even though they lost the Ana, they were able to trade Ana for a keep there. And they just have to wait until Ana comes back online. This siege camp in the bot lane is doing a ton of work, and the Vikings are just trading up the objective. Channel in one, then gonna go channel the other. So again, the Viking value is just shining so much here on Dragonshire. Able to pick up two keeps while the side of WildHeart Omega was trying to find some sort of an advantage. And look at the core. I mean, it's down to 56. I think that's where it's going to end, but 56, almost half of the core is gone. Johanna having to run herself to safety while the rest of the Rippers try and come in and do some sort of damage. Anna's still not online for 10 seconds. We have all ultimates back up online for the side of WildHeart Omega. If there's ever time to pick a fight, Blessed Shield being popped out. Leap going to go down onto the Mei. Falstad coming in with the damage, and that is one dead Mei. We saw the bloodlust in their eyes. They knew that they had a play with all their ultimates coming on back online, and these were the plays that got WildHeart Omega back into the game in Game 1, looking to potentially do it again here in Game 3. They have a little more macro pressure to deal with in Game 3 than they did in Game number 1. We'll see if these Vikings are just going to continue to be the most annoying thing on the Nexus for the side of WildHeart Omega, or if they could finally make a play. But Orphea getting a little caught out here. No ultimates online, so they don't have any lockdown potential coming out here. Li Ming, to note, did go for a safer level 13 talent than Glass Cannon. She's going for the Illusionist build this time. Gonna be able to get herself to safety a whole lot more and not blow up near as fast from this Orphea. But the Vikings are just parked right in the door inside the base. Li Ming is finally here. Oh, catches him sleeping! She caught him sleeping and able to pick up one of those kills there. Play again is available for the Vikings, so they will be able to get him back in no time at all. They're just waiting for the opportune time. Meanwhile, camp being sieged up by the side of WildHeart Omega here. Mei going in, looking like she's trying to find a fight. Was not able to find the boot back, but Johanna is on the point, able to get herself away with the Iron Skin, but the skin is gone. Falstad landing the Eternal Gust onto the Cassie, getting herself away. Johanna's got to run into the Gust, is able to get there. She still does not have the Iron Skin available. That's the second swipe. One more swipe. There it is. That's all the swipes. Sukov is down, but I think it was able to be enough. I think the third swipe was good enough to disengage this fight. And here we go. Channel is starting for the Vikings. Will Sonya get there? She does. Interrupts the channel there, and now we have a potential another fight. All ultimates are pretty much online. Leap going in, lands onto that Orphea. Orphea was caught out. Huge play coming in for WildHeart Omega yet again. Sonya trying to get in there and provide all the damage she can. Falstad is sitting at about half health. The ball is getting so much value. One swipe coming in for the Stukov, and everybody on WildHeart Omega has to run. Johanna reverting to go back in to get the blinding light. Not sure if she needed to do that there. Now this is starting the stagger. That is Falstad going down as Sonya goes down too. This could be it. Everything is crashing down there. Olaf tries to jump in, isn't able to get there, and this could be played again, being popped. All three Vikings are here. This could be the reverse sweep coming in for Team Rippers. They are getting popped, but they are turning all of these fights around. The core is only at 56. This Dragon getting out here. Mei is DC'd, but they don't care. They're going for core anyway. This Dragon is very healthy, and that will be GG's Game 3 going to, we're going for a ride, going to Team Rippers. They were able to break the curse. The team that picked the map finally won the map, and that was an amazing series. Look at the stats coming out here. Orphea not able to actually put out as much damage in this Game 3 as she was in the first two games. Was able to put out a lot more sustained damage in the first two games. But Cassia was able to pull up that slack, putting out 80k damage on her own. That infinite chain ball lightning coming out from that level 20 talent was getting some pretty massive value. Vikings getting 45k soak there. Holy cap. That is just an immense amount of soakage coming out of the Vikings. But it really makes me wish I knew how to play the Vikings to that kind of a level. Like, that is absolutely insane. Awesome work coming out from the side of Team Rippers. And this was a series they needed to win. Like, they were having a rough part of their early season. Like I said, I think they're in like the 5 or 6 seed out of 7 or 8 teams. I can't remember. But this win is huge for them. Like, this is a season changer right here. Coming in and getting a win over the number 2 seed. Big props. And they really did it pretty definitively. They had they fell apart in that Game 1, but Game 2 was very clean. Game 3 was close. It was back and forth the whole game, but it looked like the Rippers were able to make WildHeart Omega respond to them all throughout the game and ultimately dictate the pace of that map and come in and win when they wanted to, even though they died way more than the side of WildHeart Omega. Like I said, even though they were dying, like losing 1 or 2 members, they still found a way to create so much macro pressure. So GG's all around. Let me see if I can get our victors. I got to figure out who I've got to send this message to real quick to get a potential interview. Captain's list, Rogue Division. There we go. Let me see if I can get them in here for an interview. So hold on tight, everybody. You can look at some of these stats. Let me throw it over to the talent page before you see some of these builds coming out. Important to note, I don't think, no, Falstad did win in game number 2. Rippers ran Falstad in game 2 and they did win. I was going to say, important note, I think Falstad did not win tonight, but he did end up winning after all. Let me see if I can get possible interview. There we go. Got a message. And I'm going to sit here and wait for our potential interview. But while we wait, let me scroll through chat, see if there's anything I possibly... Oh, hello. Never mind. We are already ready to go. Oh, I'm so glad I got chat before it too. Congratulations, GG's Team Rippers, on your 2-1 victory. How you guys feeling?
Pretty well. We played really well. I think the first game I think we could have done way better. We made a lot of mistakes, but second and third game we played really well. Third game we got some deaths, some picks there, but even though we managed to pull out the win, so that was good for us. We feel really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Going through, let's go talk about that game 1 real quick. You guys came into it. Were you expecting the Chromie insta lock coming out of the side of WildHeart Omega?
Actually, I didn't. I forgot about Apparition. He's really good at Chromie. We didn't think about that. We were thinking more about like banning Uther, Falstad.
Right.
We left the Chromie, but we changed it later to ban it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering, like, when the Chromie got through, I was like, "Ooh, I think Apparition's really gonna like this," and they like insta locked it, and I was like, "Uh oh, this could spell trouble." But game 1, I mean, it looked like for the most part, you guys' early game was very clean. I mean, you got level 1, you guys got 3 kills in that scrap in the mid lane. So I was like, all right, here goes Team Rippers, like off to a good start. What went wrong in that game 1 where it kind of just eventually started to crumble away from you guys?
Yeah, mostly rotations or objective. We didn't wait for the whole team before we engaged, so we got caught before the fight. Also, like we got rooted a lot by Mephisto, that combo, and it won them the fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say the Mephisto Endurance of Hatred coming out was pretty crucial. They landed a couple of those, and it seemed to be one of the game changers in those fights. But game 1 didn't go as you guys planned. What did you guys elect to do to change it up for game 2? You guys picked our map in game 2. Oh no, you guys took first pick. They sent you guys to Battlefield of Eternity in game 2. So you knew they were sending us to Battlefield of Eternity. They got to choose the map. How did you guys decide to change it up and approach game 2 to start coming back there?
Mostly just correcting the mistakes, like not getting caught. The macro pushing our advantage when we were talents and levels ahead. We just kept the pressure. Way less mistakes though, and synergy was really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Rexar Murden. You were on the Rexar, and the amount of crowd control you had on to blow up whatever target you want. It seems like you guys were catching the Leeming and the Greymane over and over. Who was calling out the rotation with that first Immortal objective where you kind of rotated down into the bottom fort with the first Immortal, which had like no shield. It was basically just a shieldless Immortal, and ended up picking up like 3 kills and getting the entire fort with that first pretty defenseless Immortal.
Oh yeah, the thing with Rexar against Chen is that he doesn't clear waves as fast, so he has trouble like rotating to help their team in the four mans. I can just clear really fast, then just help my team. Then I was just like zoning with Misha,
Mm-hmm.
so they do less damage to the Immortal, and you can like get the aggro with Misha on the fort and get her out after, so your team can dive better. So you have to push the advantages of your hero. That's what we did.
Yeah. There you go, you guys. For those listening wanting to improve your Rexar game, some tips and tricks for you right there. But I mean, you got to go back and watch the highlight of that play because that was an absolutely stellar play coming out of the team to turn like I said, a pretty much shieldless first Immortal, which everybody knows the first Immortal is usually pretty weak, and take it to a 3 kill. And I think it pushed all the way to the keep with
The
like
wall, yeah.
yeah, to the keep wall, and with picking up 3 kills, like that was absolutely an impressive play. And I was like, all right, Team Ripper's coming out firing on all cylinders in this game too. But game two went pretty heavily in your guys' favor. I would say a pretty dominant performance coming out of Team Rippers in game two, sending us to the ever so hyped game number 3. And you come out and lock the Lost Vikings in first rotation. Was that just a flex move? Like you guys gave it to us, we're gonna flex it on you, or was that the plan all along to just be like, if they show it, if they let it through, we're taking it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really comfortable with the Vikings. I played a lot of games ranked, high GM. Yes, I'm really comfortable with the hero. The hero's really good on that map. I'm comfortable with the micro, the push you can do, the pressure. And my teammate has experience with Vikings as well. So that's why we picked first because they left it, and it's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, we're at least I was, and some of the chat was throwing it up as well. Like the props, like the amount of micro play that was coming out was absolutely critical to giving your team the time to just siege up that bot lane. Like even though I mean, you look at the kills, game 3 ended up 13-8 in favor of WildHeart Omega. They got more kills, but it seemed like every time they got a kill, you guys found somewhere on the map to get some sort of macro advantage every single time. Uh, Majorly in props to the Vikings play. Like there's 2 times where they got 2 kills, but you got to keep both times. So it was like, okay, we traded a keep for a kill. That's okay. But yeah, so I mean, and then game 3, I mean, like it seemed like a little slower paced, but eventually you guys came out with that aggressive comp again, kind of forced WildHeart Omega to respond to you, and ultimately, won your macroed and microed your way to a reverse sweep. So major props to Team Rippers there. Tell me real quick, Champ of Horde, who do you think was your team's MVP for this series tonight?
I think, I think the JP, I think, played really well all the
J-
games.
JP. So that was Cassie in
Yeah,
game 3, which I was like, yeah, the Cassia. So that was Cassia, Falstad, and what did he play in game 1?
he was screaming.
Greymane, yeah. Greymane, Cassia, and Falstad in all 3 of our games. Definitely like the Falstad. Poor guy was like sent on solo burn duty on a lot of those Immortals, but able to do it and help the team. I think the Cassia game, he was putting out so much damage. It was
Yeah.
awesome sight to see. So real quick, I'm going to leave the floor open to you. Any shout outs you'd like to give to fans, Twitch chat, anything like that, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I want to shout out you guys for streaming these matches, the NGS League, my team, and all people who have been watching and supporting.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, that is all of the questions I have tonight. Good win for Team Rippers. Congratulations yet again. Thank you so much for the interview, and I look forward to seeing what comes from Team Rippers here in the future.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Ice, for the interview as well.
absolutely. Take care.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Champa Ford, was our Rexar and Lost Vikings player here tonight, and I believe Sonia in game one as well. I forgot to mention that, but awesome series coming out from Team Rippers. Like I said, this was a fun series to cast. Going back and watching it, you'll get to see a lot of good, solid, aggressive play coming out of them, and forcing the opponents to kind of respond. And if you want to see some excellent Viking play, definitely recommend going and watching the VOD. I know I absolutely will be watching this one again to get some awesome tips and tricks from these two stellar teams. WildHeart definitely had their own plays as well. If you want to watch a really clean Mephisto game, there was a pretty good clinic going on. I think it was Brown Balla. Yeah, Brown Balla played an absolutely amazing Mephisto game one on Infernal Shrine, so you can go back and watch that. But that is the series so far tonight. I hope you had a fantastic time. If you love Heroes of the Storm, you want to watch more and learn more and enjoy the casting, be sure to drop a follow. I absolutely appreciate all of your guys' generosity, the follows, the subscriptions, the donations. I really appreciate it. I always send out a notification when I'm going live. My calendar is up on Twitch for this next week. I know I said on Friday I was going to have it up, and it took a little bit longer to get it up, but I do have it up. So without further ado, let me go pull that up for you guys real quick so I can tell you guys what we have going forward. So if you drop that follow, you will be notified of what I have going on for the rest of this week. But this was Heroic Division tonight. Was an excellent series. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern, I have a Division D matchup between Private Potato and Vibe Check. Private Potato trying to get some wins. I know they played either last night or tonight, and so maybe they got a win there, but they're looking to get their first few wins. Vibe Check sitting at about a middle of the pack tier team in Division D, so that should be a pretty good matchup there in Division D at 8 o'clock tomorrow night Pacific time. And then Tuesday night, I have my own series early, so I'm only going to be able to cast a late game. And so I am going to be casting a Division C West matchup at 8 p.m. against Can't Counter Pick Stupid versus Bloodbath and Beyond at 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern. I know for some of you that's like, wow, why are you casting all these really late Easter times? I live on the West Coast, and work unfortunately only lets me pick up games at like 7:30, 8 o'clock time frame. So that's the only times I can get on. So that's what I have. I do not have anything scheduled for Thursday. I'm still looking at potentially picking up a match on Wednesday and Thursday. I've looked at a couple of the ones that have come online, so I may grab one Thursday as well. It would probably be Division B matchup on Thursday, but it would be at 8:30. And then that is going to be it for me for this week. I am on vacation with the wife, who's been just awesome this season, letting me cast as much as I've been able to. So we're going on a trip this weekend, so no casting until the following week. So if you want to get your HOTS action in on this channel, be sure to check it out and drop that follow, and I'll see you guys either tomorrow night or Tuesday night. But that is it for me tonight. Have a fantastic night, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to actually see if there's any actual games still going on. I don't believe so, because I know Jason and Bankai were the ones still going, or had the late games as well, and both of them rated this channel tonight. So let me see if there is anything. Now, most people are offline now. Just going to see if there's anybody fun streaming right now. You know what? Oh, no, it's a rerun. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much going on tonight. So this is just where I'm going to end off the stream tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining tonight. Hope you had a fun time. And I will hopefully see you all back here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Take care and have a wonderful night, everyone. Good night.